Okay, guys. Well, as per usual, let's do our audio and video check. And yeah, let me know if everything's okay, right? See, we've got some people on board here. 4 so far. Cool, cool. All right, guys. Let me know. Let me know. Talk to me. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Hello, hello, hello. Okay, good, good. Audio seems to be okay. That's great. And I assume that the video is okay as well. Awesome. Okay, guys. Well, we're 1 minute early, so we'll give people a few seconds to get on board. Happy to, well, not see you because I can't see you, but happy you guys are here. And yeah, I think today we're going to be talking about something pretty important. As you saw in the title, what is success, right? Reason why I want to talk about that is because so many of you seem to be struggling big time, struggling with whether to go to college or not, struggling whether to move to another country to get employed, struggling to work in the industry as a game artist, or let's say in the movie industry, or in neither, right? Many, many, many questions. And all of these questions typically relate to uncertainty, unclarity, where you are in your career right now, right? So before we get started, I'm kind of curious, right? Can you please, if you want to share that information, please share with me what your age is, right? And that's kind of important. And because I got this theory, and we'll talk about it in a minute, right? So please let me know. And you don't have to be exact, but, are you 18 or are you 28 or 38 or 48, to give me an idea. So would you please share that with me? Okay, let's see. We'll turn 20. All right. That's pretty young. Awesome. Okay, anybody else? Yeah. How old are you? Are you in your teens, 20s, 30s? Please let me know. I get this idea that we have a little bit of a lag going on in the video, but hopefully that's okay, right? Okay, anyway, while you guys are thinking about it, there you go, 35, 21. Okay, cool. Right, guys. Well, why is that relevant? Why? Well, the thing is this. As you probably know, I talk to 3D artists and upcoming 3D artists all the time on a daily basis. And I've spoken with hundreds, I would even say thousands, right? The people that struggle the most are people that are new to the industry, are still studying to become a 3D artist. And that kind of makes sense, right? Because it's a new world and you're working towards your goal. Now, what I hear all the time is people are uncertain about the quality of their work, right? Am I good enough? I'll never be able to do that. Will I ever get hired by Pixar? Will I ever get hired by DreamWorks? Should I do the college thing or not, right? So that's why this topic is, what is success? A lot of you seem to look at ArtStation, see work done by somebody with, I don't know, 15 years of experience, and then have this comment like, okay, I can't do that, right? So, hey, I'm a failure. I'm never going to learn it. I'm never going to get hired, and so forth, which is, of course, not true. Now, before I get into this, have any of you experienced that feeling, right? Do you have that uncertainty that you don't know what to do, that you think you're not good enough, that you think you're not going to make it in the industry, right? That's kind of important because that is what this is about. And this is about you guys. And I want to kind of help you to get past that, if you know what I mean, right? So, I know it's hard to talk about, your uncertainties, but let me know if you feel that way, right? Anybody at all? Okay, so he was saying, yes, I always compare the works. Some gives me the push. Okay, cool. All right, yeah, so I kind of figured as much, right? Now, the thing is this, and I just want to make a comparison here, okay? Let's say your passion in life is running, and you want to run a marathon, right? But you've never went out running, and you can hardly run 100 yards. Okay, cool. So you go and watch television, you see people doing like the full marathon in 2 hours and 13 minutes, and you're like, okay, I can never do that. Well, how do you know? Because you didn't train for it, you didn't work towards that, right? Now, in the case of a marathon, it is super simple. What's so simple about it? Well, you know what has to be done. You know the distance, and you know, okay, if I can do it in 2 hours and 13 minutes, I'm at the top. If I can do it in 3 hours, 4 hours, clearly measurable, right? You have a clear understanding what's going on, how long it takes, and so forth. Now, when you want to become a 3D artist, it's a whole different ballgame, because first of all, the question you need to answer for yourself is, why do you want to be a 3D artist? Well, maybe because it gives you joy, right? Maybe you just love modeling stuff in 3D. Okay, let's take that for a moment. If that's the case, then what is success? Success is that you're having fun, right? That is your goal. So you need to understand what your goal is. So people will say, hey, I want to work at Pixar. And my question would be, why? Because you have never worked at Pixar. You probably don't know people that work at Pixar. You don't know their workflow. You don't know what they do. The only thing you know is their end product, right? So working at Pixar could be a goal, but it will be more likely to say, I want to work at a company that makes things similar to Toy Story or that kind of thing, right? Where I see a lot of people go wrong is they kind of bite into this goal, what they want, and then they kind of forget about everything else, and they focus on this entirely and kind of forget about why they started doing it in the first place, right? So that uncertainty is because you are working towards a goal and the world is telling you something different. The world is saying, hey, you need to be better than this guy, or you need to be faster than that person, or, you know, and then it's all about self-doubt, and then you don't know how to move forward. You don't know what you need to learn first, second, and so forth. Yeah. Yeah, you know, so let me know if that makes sense. I was just reading the comment here for a second. Yeah. So how many of you can tell me that you know exactly why you want to be a 3D artist? And as soon as you write that down, what I will do is I will challenge you on that goal, right? And it's all in good fun, and it's all in good faith. I'm not going to attack you or anything. I'm just going to ask a couple of critical questions that will help other people in the live stream to understand how to organize their own thought process, right? Because I've been doing this for a very long time, and it took me a very long time to understand exactly what I wanted, right? Because I didn't know, I didn't have the experience, I didn't know how to move forward. Yeah. So can any one of you please tell me why you want to be a 3D artist and what your goal is, right? Help us out here so we can kind of dive into that. Don't know exactly how long the lag is, but I assume somebody will type in something. And this is for you guys. I'm doing this live stream for you, so please help me out and give me some interaction, okay? Otherwise, it's just me talking to myself. Yeah. Okay. So I see two comments here. One says, because I love what I do. Okay, that's cool. And the other says, because of my passion. Well, the thing is, because I love what I do, what does that mean? What are you doing? Maybe you love the modeling elements. Maybe you love the texturing elements. Maybe it's a combination of those things, right? But there are things that you might not like. Let's say you love 3D modeling, but you don't like working for a studio. So would it be a better idea to be freelance? Well, maybe you want to work freelance, but you don't like the business aspect of things. That's what I'm saying. It's not as simple as, for example, doing that marathon thing. Yeah. So you need to be very clear about this, because you are going to spend a tremendous amount of time becoming a 3D artist. And once you are one, you're going to be working on that to stay a 3D artist as well. Yeah. So let me see what you guys have been writing down. All right. So because of my passion, what does that mean? What is that passion? What part of being a 3D artist is your go-to? Yeah. Let's see what else. Just want to be part of something big, even a little bit, like a small barrel in a big battlefield game map. Okay. Well, and again, you can ask yourself, okay, if you want to be part of something big, you can be part of something big in many, many ways. Keep in mind that becoming a 3D artist is extremely difficult. It takes years, it takes a lot of dedication, it takes a lot of passion. If you are struggling because you want to be part of something big, but you don't want to do all that stuff, reconsider what that thing is you want to be, right? I mean, you can be, where you can work in a factory and be part of something big, right? So try and define for yourself exactly what you think it is, yeah? Next one, kind of fun to make stuff from 2D, 3D. And I completely agree. The thing is this, if that's kind of fun, does that validate your choice to become a 3D artist? Maybe you're not, but let's assume you are, yeah? So, it's kind of cool to turn 2D stuff into 3D stuff. Is that worth getting a college debt of $30,000, $40,000? Is that worth working 6 years to get a fresher job, to then start in the industry and work another 10 years to move forward? Yeah. So it's super important to know exactly what you want and why you want it, because that will give you focus and help you to move towards your goal easier. Yeah. Let's see here. Hey, from Russia. Hi there. Let's see. Creating everything inside a 3D software. Yeah. Cool. I don't like Unwrap. Nobody likes Unwrap. Let's see. I love to do 3D to bring my 2D illustrations to life and somewhat give them dimensions. I was originally an illustrator. So Benny, that's kind of cool, because for me, that was kind of the same thing. And when it comes to passion, let me talk about passion for a second. Yeah. Somebody said, because of my passion. Well, I had this idea, and tell me if I'm wrong, right? I have this idea, and this applies to me anyway, yeah, is that for me, 3D is a method to help me tell the story I want to tell, right? Some people will play music, some people will write a story, some people will paint, some people will do something else. For me, 3D is a way to visualize a story, a creative story that I want to tell, right? I got, for example, this prop in mind or a character in mind, and I want to bring it to life. And by life, I mean rigging it, animating it, and that's just cool as hell, right? And that's what's important for me. So from a job perspective, what I focus on is an environment that allows me to do that. But if I get into an environment where I am telling their story and there's no room for my own creativity, then that is not helping me to do what is my passion, right? That's what I'm saying as far as this question thing. A lot of people that start off in the industry will take whatever job to get into the industry, will be working on it for years to find out they're doing something that they really don't like, right? So let's see what else you guys have been writing down. Let's see. Am I the meanest but wisest modeler on Maya? I don't know if I'm mean, and I'm certainly not the wisest modeler. So there you go. Okay, so 3D is a good thing, but payment has always been a big problem, right? Well, that applies to most people. Most people in the 3D industry are struggling when it comes to payment, because they typically, and I did a series on this, they typically have a creative mind. They know how to make beautiful things. But when it comes to the business mindset, invoicing, budgeting, contracting, that's something that doesn't get a lot of attention in schools usually, right? because there's so many people out there that don't have that experience and knowledge. The industry is kind of abusing that, if you will, right? They'll promise you the world. They'll tell you, hey, you're going to be famous. If we are successful, you're going to get a lot of money, blah, blah, blah. It's all promises, and it usually doesn't lead to anything, right? So it is super important to have that business mindset. Now, again, if you are a 3D artist, maybe you never thought of this, and maybe you don't even want to do that. Well, if that's the case, then, for example, forget about being a freelance artist. And you need to think about this stuff in advance and not spend years to find this out, because, hey, it would be a shame, right? Let's see. Studying drawing. Okay, to be honest, it's worth every penny, seeing myself grow as an artist, moving forward and being happy while doing so. Okay, so I'm trending. That is awesome, right? Now, that's, first of all, I love it because you're clearly passionate about it. The thing is, though, that there is a practical side to 3D modeling, right? And it's basically, let's put this into stages, right? First stage for a 3D modeler is sitting in your room, making something for yourself, and either enjoying it or not, right? Step one. 2 is making something and showing it to friends, family, and they have an opinion about it, right? And some people find that difficult because, you might get critique, you might not want to get critique, and so forth. So it's your choice whether you want to share that with the outside world or not, right? Then the third thing is, do you want to be an amateur or do you want to be a professional? Now, the only difference between these two, literally, is, are you making money doing it, right? If you are a self-sustaining artist making money doing that, you are a professional. It doesn't mean you are a good artist. There are bad artists out there that make a living, right? There are good artists out there that don't make a living. So don't be fooled. If you make money with your work, you are considered a professional modeler. Maybe not the best in the world, but technically you are, yeah? So let's go back. 3D modeling for yourself, not sharing with anyone. Second step, 3D modeling, sharing with your friends and so forth. Third step is sharing it with the outside world and being open to critique, right? People are going to say, hey, it sucks, it's not good, whatever. The next step is, are you going to make money doing it, right? And then you can choose for the relatively safe environment of working for an employer at a studio, or the very risky, uncertain life of being a freelance artist. These choices, pretty much none of them talk about why you enjoy 3D so much, right? Or what type of 3D you enjoy the most. Because these two things can exist separate from each other, that's why a lot of people run into the problem of being uncertain, don't know what to do, and so forth, because they haven't answered these questions. Does this make sense to you guys at all? Please let me know. Yeah? Let's see. Amar saying, greetings, Mike. It's really nice to see you. I have an issue that I am not able to find a proper answer to. So if you kind of can help me, started my journey as a 3D artist. Okay. And there's more. Since then, I'm trying to break into the industry, but all I got is no response. Okay. Well, that's kind of off topic, but I'll see if I can kind of get the answer in here somewhere. Yeah. Yeah, I've been getting the same thing over and over. Yeah. Okay. So let's get back on topic. Yeah. So the topic is, what is success? Now, let's say I'm in that category of, sitting in my room, modeling something in 3D and having fun doing that, right? My goal is to have fun. What is fun to me? Telling my story in a 3D fashion, right? So that's my goal. That's my purpose. That's why I do it. So my success is measured in whether or not I'm having fun. That's it, right? So if I do that and if I have fun, I am successful. End of story. Yeah. Now let's go to the next category. I mean, Thomas says here, money is success. I 100% completely disagree. Yeah, I completely disagree, but I'll get to that. Okay, so that's the first category. Second category is, hey, I'm modeling in 3D and I want to share this with my friends and family. And my goal in life, right, is for my friends and family to like what I do. Okay, so my parents like it, my brothers and sisters like it, and my friends like it. Okay, if that is my goal, then I achieved success. Yeah, because success is your perception of success. If you want to run, 100 meters or 100 yards in 1 hour, then for you that's success. Yeah. Let's go to the next step. So you want to share your work with the world. Yeah. You might say, well, I want people to give me feedback so I can grow as an artist, right? I never created a character in 3D before. My goal is 3 months from now, I want to be able to do a full character by getting help from people online, right? That might be a challenge. I might get, bad feedback. People are going to crap all over it, whatever, but it will give me tough skin and I will become better as a 3D artist. If that is what you want, and if that is your choice, then, right, you step into that path. It helps you to grow as a 3D artist. A couple of months later, you're making your 3D character. That is measured as success. Yeah. Now, the comment here, money is success. I completely disagree, because if you are completely miserable every day, but you're making money, right? How is that success? First of all, being a 3D artist is probably the worst possible way to make money. It's all about passion. There are like literally a million other ways of making money easier than being a 3D artist. So if you are all about the money, go and get a job somewhere and don't be a 3D artist. Yeah. Now, the thing is this, people will say, if you're not making money as a 3D artist, then you're not a 3D artist. Now, excuse my language, but that's bullshit, right? That is absolutely bullshit. It's all about your passion in life, the feeling you have about what you're doing, right? Now, if you make that choice to go to college and to get that student loan and have to pay that back and pay the bills and so forth while you're working on 3D every day, that's a choice, because that means, yes, you made the choice, so now you have to make money doing what you're doing, right? But again, you don't have to if that's not what you want, right? Okay, let's see what else you're writing down. Let's see. Okay, sadly, people say that to do graphic design too, but no way, I'm going somewhere else in 3D work. Okay. Okay, should accomplish 3D too. All right. Yeah, money is a measurement of success, but at the end, it's really just up to you. Yeah, I agree. And I don't know about you guys, but I would say every person, but a lot of people I talk to in the 3D industry, and I'm talking a lot, a super high percentage, they're people that, based on what I'm hearing, they feel miserable, right? I'm not good enough. I'm never going to make it. Pixar is never going to hire me. I'm not getting a job. Should I move abroad? I'm not making any money. And I'm like, okay, well, if everything is so horrible, then why are you doing it, right? And what I want, and I talk to them all the time, is to help them understand what choices can help you to be super happy in what you're doing, right? And it seems like a lot of people have the outside world tell them what success is. You are the one that needs to decide what success means to you, right? And nobody else. It's kind of like, okay, I'm driving a car and my next door neighbor has a bigger car. So I have to have that bigger car as well, right? Otherwise, I'm not successful. That is complete crap, because my next door neighbor, who is driving the bigger car, hates his job, hates his boss, hates his wife, hates his kids, whatever, right? That's not success at all. I might have a smaller, cheaper car, but I'm super happy every day. See what I'm getting at here? Okay. So let's see here. Okay, what would be the age cutoff to start as a professional 3D artist? It really doesn't matter. I mean, and you can believe me or not, but I know people that started in their 40s, in their 50s, in their 60s. I know a guy that started 3D modeling at the age of 63, right? He's now making all the 3D models for a new game that involves a lot of vintage cars, right? So, it's really about your output, what you create, and the value of what you create. Okay. So I don't see a lot of momentum going on here, guys, on the topic of today. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to call this an open Q&A. So ask me anything you want. But if you have questions on this topic, please do so. Yeah. That said, guys, just a quick note here. If you follow my channel, then you know that I turned off monetization. I turned off monetization completely. No more ads on my videos, not 1 penny income through YouTube, no more Patreon, no more channel members, none of that, right? I did that because I want my videos to be free for all of you guys, right? And that said, it means that I have to work a hell of a lot harder to pay the bills. If you want to support me, and I'm just going to say this once, you can buy me a cup of coffee, right? Here's the link. Okay. Any questions, guys? Any questions about the topic? Any questions about whatever? Yeah. Never too late to start a new career. That's absolutely true. I know a guy that has been a police officer for 20 years, and then he wanted to become a doctor, right? And started completely from scratch. Yeah. Let's see here. You taught about small studio. I myself think that the small studio has taught me far more than any larger studio from my experience. I have to agree completely. And why do I agree that? And I don't know if you guys saw this video, but if you're working for a company with 500 artists, you have a very tiny specific job, most likely. If you work for a studio with 5 people, you're probably asked and are involved in everything because they only have 5 people, right? So I would definitely work for a smaller studio, even if at some point I want to work for a bigger studio, because your career ramp up and your skill set will grow much, much faster, right? Hey guys, anything else? Any questions, any comments, anything at all? And it's totally okay, guys. I mean, if you don't have any questions, that's fine. Let's see, tips for practicing. How many hours should, okay, been tempting your tutorials the past week and it has been great. I lose momentum sometimes though. I'm a total beginner and eager to succeed. Okay. Well, the thing is this, what a lot of people tend to do is people like to be confident and they like to stay in their comfort zone, right? So what they typically do is they start with something simple. I don't know, a coffee mug or something, and they model a coffee mug. But because they now know how to model a coffee mug, they will start modeling things that look like a coffee mug, like a coffee cup or a teacup or a vase or something like that, right? Problem there is you're keeping yourself in your comfort zone on purpose because you don't want to do the difficult stuff because you don't know how. Problem is, as such, you're not learning. And you need to have an external force that drives you to do things that are uncomfortable, because otherwise you're not growing. If your comfort zone is like this big, it has to become bigger. So a couple of things you can do is choose an item on your desk. Okay, today I'm going to model something that's on my left-hand side on my desk. It can be my phone, it can be a speaker for my computer, anything like that. And just start doing it and don't give up until you have modeled something that you're okay with, right? That's one way to do it. The other way to do it is if you are in a network or you have other people around you that model in 3D as well, challenge each other or be part of weekly competitions. There are a bunch of them online where they will say, okay, this week you need to model a vehicle. Next week you need to model a building, that kind of stuff, right? But whatever you do, make sure you push yourself outside of your comfort zone, and that's the only way for you to grow. Yeah? Okay, cool. Yeah, and I appreciate that you like the videos. Okay, guys, any other questions? Anything. Let's see. Okay, cool. Thanks, Benny. New to 3D creation world, can we print 3D models in Maya or ZBrush as it is, like just exporting from Maya? And okay, well, first of all, if you want to model something that you can print in 3D, you have to export it in a certain file format, typically something like STL, right? In addition, you need to understand the construction of the model, so the interior of the model, because the way things are 3D printed, if you print something completely solid, it's going to cost you a tremendous amount of filament, which is expensive, right? So I'd be careful with that. There are many, many videos online that will tell you how to model or how to optimize a model before 3D printing. So that's what I would check out. Yeah. Let's see. So I'm trending saying, can you make a tutorial on UVs? I have a playlist with about 38 videos on UV mapping, and there are several of them on pretty sophisticated models. Yeah. Let's see, which software is mostly used in the VFX? I would say the industry leader right now is Houdini. There are others, but Houdini is definitely number one in my opinion. And it's, yeah, it's not easy at all. But that said, it's very, very cool. Yeah. Let's see, being a 3D artist, what about solo video game developing? Well, the thing is this. Even as a team, making a 3D, I assume you're talking about a 3D game, right? Making a 3D game can be a process of multiple years, right? Doing it by yourself could be a 5-year endeavor, right? The cost of doing something like that is tremendous. And if you want to do this in your free time, it's going to take even longer. I have a couple of friends working on a game. They've been working on it for 18 months with, I think, about 10 people or so, and they probably have another year to go. So be careful what you wish for. If this is your passion, sure, but keep in mind it's a big, big deal. Okay, let's see. What are the minimum requirements to get into animation industry, entry-level job, or even internships? You're not going to like my answer, but the only requirement is for the person in charge of hiring to say yes. Now that may sound stupid, but consider this. Let's say you are and this is all about supply and demand. Yeah. Let's say you are in a location where there's nobody with any 3D knowledge whatsoever. Yeah. And you are the one that knows how to animate a little bit. You know how to move a rig. You know how to do super simple stuff. Hey, you're king, right? Because nobody else knows how to do it and what to do. If you're in an environment with a whole bunch of people that have tons of experience, different story, of course. So there is no minimal requirement. Yeah. You need to convince whoever is hiring based on your portfolio, based on your demo reel, based on your explanation of who you are and what you want, that you are worth giving a shot. Yeah. That's basically it. Let's see. Motivational. Yeah, thank you. It's not, unfortunately, it's reality. Let me see. What are you referring to, Mar? What is reality? Okay. But keep in mind, guys, that, and this is kind of the topic of this video, right? The industry is so difficult to get into, and it's so hard to make it in this industry. But that said, that doesn't mean that you should give up. It just means you should be super, super clear about what you want, and not, I want to do 3D stuff. No, be super specific. Yeah, super specific. I want to do 3D modeling in Maya on props that are going to be used in a 3D game environment on such and such platform, right? That's the only way for you to figure out, what am I going to run into? What parts do I like? What parts do I don't like? And am I going to accept that or not? Yeah. Okay. What do I think of Blender? I am not a Blender user. I have used it in the past. I'm not going to be negative about Blender. I mean, it's free. It's great if you can't afford anything else. And it's all about the artist and not really about the software. Yeah. So Blender's fine. Let's see. Ibrahim, is it possible to create very realistic human faces using Maya only? Similarly, can we create very precise, measured, and calculated interior and home or industry package design in ZBrush only? First of all, can you make super realistic human faces in Maya? Yes, you can. Maya has basically everything you need to do that. But again, you need to have tremendous knowledge and tremendous skill. But can it be done? Yes. Precisely measured and calculated interiors in ZBrush. Not 100% sure if it's possible, but what I would definitely tell you is don't do it. It doesn't make sense at all. It would kind of like being, painting stripes on a highway with a hand brush, right? It's just not the best choice at all. If you want to have specifically calculated and measured things like interiors, there are other software packages made specifically for that. Yeah. This is a cool question. The hiring manager dissection. I really love that question. Thank you. All right. So what does that mean? So you got an interview and you're sitting and talking with someone about a job. Yeah. Now, the thing is this. If you, and I assume we're talking about not a client, we're talking about a job, yeah? So you go and have an interview. Now, as always, what you need to do is you need to do your homework. Now, first of all, are you going to be talking to the person that you're going to be working for? Or are you going to talk to the person that has been charged by the person you're going to be working for to go out and hire somebody? So you can have an HR manager, right, that knows nothing about 3D, or you can have a 3D lead artist that you're going to be working for who knows everything about 3D. These two things are completely different. Yeah. So if you have an interview, find out who you're going to be talking to, find out what their role is, because a hiring manager, an HR manager will ask very different questions because they're asking on behalf of, for example, the lead artist. Yeah. They're going to be asking you questions that they probably don't understand themselves. Now, the problem there is if you start going super technical, then you're going to lose that person in seconds. They have no idea what you're talking about, right? And they need to feel in control. So my tip is this: always talk about the value for the company. You are valuable as a 3D artist to them because you add value to their process, because you are valuable to the lead artist, because don't talk about how good you are, how great you are, etc., unless it adds a value to their process and their company, right? They're going to be paying you money in exchange for you adding value to the business. So that's it. Yeah. Let's see. Rika saying, after 2 or 3 years, I can get my job done with all I have learned from Mike and online. That's a big success. That is so cool. Congratulations. Very cool. Let's see. This is me, the king in my job. Only one can do it in my work. Okay. So you're super comfortable in the place that you're working at and the work you're doing. That's great. Let's say I'm 22 years old. I want to become a 3D artist. I want to know, what is the future of 3D modeling? Okay. Well, first of all, I don't have a crystal ball, right? So I can't look into the future, but I do have a few ideas. Yeah. Like everything in life over the last 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, right? You see a high level of automation, right? Things are being automated to kind of eliminate the personal aspects. We got welding robots, we got all sorts of computers and scanners and stuff doing stuff. Yeah. A lot of 3D artists are worried that they won't have a job in the future because of all this technology. Now, I completely disagree. Sorry, I completely disagree. And I get this question all the time. Now, why do I disagree? Look at the primary job of any 3D artist, whether you are working in the game industry, in the movie industry, whether you are modeling kitchens, buildings, it doesn't matter, right? Your job is to translate the story, right, that you're asked to tell to something visual. Yeah. You have a car manufacturing company asking you to make a model. They're asking you to help them tell their story, right? You are making Woody for Toy Story. You're helping to tell their story. So the creative element of you being able to listen to the client, listen to the lead artist, listen to the script, listen to whatever, and have the ability to creatively translate that into something tangible, that is your job as a 3D artist, right? A computer or a scanner or whatever will never be able to do that, right? They'll be able to take something existing, scan it, and change it into a 3D model. But our job typically revolves around making things that don't exist, right? Fantasy characters, fantasy models, fantasy games, and so forth. So I am not worried at all. Yeah? Okay, cool. Let's see. Okay. All right. I won't lie to you. If you're going for game artists, the competition is massive, and it is. The competition is massive, and not only in the game world, but also in the movie world and so forth. And I did tons and tons of videos on my channel how you can stand out of the crowd, how you can make a difference, and how you can make it, right? But that's kind of the whole idea. This stream is about giving you clarity and giving you focus. Why are you doing what you're doing? What do you want to achieve, and why do you want to achieve it? Don't let the world tell you what you want to achieve. You make up your own mind what you want to achieve. Yeah. And it's not like, oh, I want this because it's cool, or I want that because he's making more money. You need to figure out what it is you want. Yeah. And stick to it. And that's why I asked you guys the question about age in the beginning, right? I mean, I'm like old as dirt, right? I've been around for a while. I made my mistakes. I fell on my face like a million times, and that made me tougher. Maybe, I learned from my mistakes. I have a better understanding of what I want, right? When I was 18 or 19, I really didn't know, because how would I be able to know? I didn't have that experience, right? And people would give me advice and tell me, and I'm like, what the hell do you know? You're old, yeah? You need to be able to do your own thing and find out by yourself, yeah? Let's see, what's the best way to get good first impression if all my working experience was on freelance platforms? Well, the thing is, it really doesn't matter. What it matters, and again, I can't stress this enough, if you are talking to whoever, right, whether it's a hiring manager or a lead artist, or I don't care who it is, right, the only reason that they're talking to you is because you have potential value to them, right? And there's that business aspect again, whether it's a client or a studio wanting to hire you. They're sitting down with you because they have a problem that needs to be fixed. You have knowledge and skill that can potentially fix their problem, and that has a value. You're asking for a certain amount of money per month, right? They're willing to pay you a certain amount of money per month. If you bring more value to the table than what they are willing to pay you, then you are more valuable and you'll get the job, right? The thing is, you need to convince them of that value. So that's the only thing you ever have to talk about. And the thing is, I've been in procurement and contracts and negotiations for 30 plus years. So I know what I'm talking about. Trust me. Yeah. So if you're sitting down with a hiring manager, you need to figure out what they want, why they want it, and how you are able to create that, right? Telling them you're a great 3D artist, they couldn't care less, right? Telling them that you won this and won that and did this and did that, it doesn't matter at all. Whether you have a college degree or not, it doesn't matter at all. The only thing that matters is, are you capable, for whatever reason, right, to fix their problem? And are you going to add more value to their company than they are paying you? Because then you're profitable. And that makes you more interesting to be hired, right? People are always talking about the wrong things. Yeah. If I want to get $50 for a bottle of water, right, my best place to sell it is in the middle of the desert, right? Because it's supply and demand. If you're working in a location where there are no 3D artists at all, you have a very strong negotiation position. If you're working in a place where there are tons and tons of 3D artists, then you have to be different, right? You have to be better, not better as in creating better stuff, better in adding value to that client, or better in showing that you can add value. All right? Hope that makes sense. Let me know if that makes sense, guys. Yeah? Let's see. Okay. Do you think it's possible for artists to get sponsored by company in CGI or 3D industry. Sure, it happens. Yeah, absolutely. In my point of view, the stream is better than my online classes. Well, thank you so much. Cool. Maybe AI will be creative someday. It can evolve by itself. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you guys have seen the movies, right? If you see any movie with characters in it that are fully CGI, right? Even though you're super impressed and you think it's super cool and all that, right? You know it's fake. You feel it in your bones, right? And it's just that there's so much of it that we're kind of, cluttered by it. Yeah. Let's see. Portfolio. Your work shows your skills. Yes and no. Because let's say I want somebody that's great in character modeling or sculpting or whatever. Yeah. I go to ArtStation and I see a whole bunch of characters that look amazing, right? Now, if I want you as a 3D artist to add value to my company, right, then there are a lot of things that are equally important than just your portfolio. What if you work super slow, right? What if you're an asshole, right? What if you show up late every day? What if you call in sick twice a week? All of these things are going to cost me money. What is the point of having a great 3D artist if they never show up or they don't perform? All of these things together define your value. A good portfolio is just an opening to a conversation. That is the point where you need to show that you can add value, right? Let's see. Does the age matter in the industry? Now, I could say no, but that would be a lie, right? Age does matter. People tend to hire young people for obvious reasons because they're cheaper, right? Typically. But that said, there are a lot of places in the 3D industry where they actually prefer people that have a little bit more life experience. And I'm not talking about the game or movie industry. I'm talking about the industrial application of 3D. Technical application, medical simulations, scientific simulations, self-driving cars, universities, hospitals, all that kind of stuff. That is where they typically want you to be a bit older, a little bit more life experience. And I'm not saying that younger people are not balanced, but as you get older, you kind of take off the rough edges, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Let's see. If you're good, you show it in your portfolio. They'll send you an art test if you pass the first stage. Maybe sometimes, but it doesn't always happen that way, right? In my opinion, or in my experience, I should say, you don't want to be in that area at all. You want to be in the area where people, because of the relationship you have with them and the network you have with them, they ask you straight up without you having to do an audition. Now, I know that's easy for me to say because I've been in this industry for decades. If you're not just there yet, sure, you will have to work with your portfolio. But having a good portfolio and building that relationship and that network is equally important. If you send an application to a company and the person actually knows your name and has spoken to you online at some point, your chances of getting an interview are like 80 to 90% higher. Yeah? Okay. Let's see. Makes sense. Okay. Also, don't be discouraged if you are rejected. Sometimes your style doesn't fit the project. Okay. Well, first of all, let me put it this way. Yeah. People get discouraged because they get rejected. Well, let me tell you this. I would say on average, a 3D artist gets rejected, I don't know, 1,000 times maybe. And it's kind of like what they call paying your dues. Now, what I would do is I would take a piece of paper, right? And I would put 1,000 squares on it, like one of those grid piece of papers. Every time I get a rejection, right, I would, be happy. And I would set a cross. I'd say that's one down, 999 to go, right? Or 9,999 to go. Because every single artist in the world goes through that process. The more rejection you get, the more experience you have, the more you will learn, the faster you will get on track, right? So don't be discouraged. See it as a badge, as an award, yeah? And again, you might be a great 3D artist, but it's not the style they're looking for, as said. Yeah. Okay, let's see. What software should I have to learn with Maya, ZBrush, or 3ds Max for movie industry? Well, kind of depends on what you're making for the movie industry. Characters, usually that's a combination of Maya and ZBrush, or Blender and ZBrush. Interiors, exteriors, 3ds Max, a lot. It kind of depends on what type of movie you're working on, what type of model you're working on. Yeah. Okay, guys, any other questions? And please let me know, guys, if you agree with what I'm saying. Yeah. Is it true that there are many artists and jobs are lesser? I don't know. I don't know exactly how many artists are there. The thing is this. You're not competing with every artist. You are competing with every artist that has the same passion and goal that you have. The artist sitting in their basement making 3D stuff for fun might not be your competition, right? The person that specifically wants to work in the field of medical simulation might not be your competition, right? So as soon as you understand what you want specifically, then you know what your competition is. I mean, if I ask how many people want to be a professional soccer player, they're like millions and millions and millions, right? Or who wants to be an astronaut? They're not competition, right? Because they're not in that cycle of becoming one. So that makes a huge difference, yeah? I want to pursue a degree in 3D animation. I don't know which is the best school for degree. Kindly advise, share your thoughts, right? So when it comes to education, that's always super tricky because I talk to so many people that are super disappointed about their schools, right? That said, it doesn't mean that schools are not good. It means that people don't get out of it what they're looking for. Now, most schools, especially online schools, they're commercial companies. So in other words, they need to make a living, right? And you are their client. So what they do is they come up with a curriculum or a program that sounds appealing to you. So you want to go to school there, right? Makes sense. If they come up with all kinds of boring stuff like contracting and client negotiation and bookkeeping or whatever, you're going to go somewhere else, right? So they're teaching you the cool stuff that everybody wants to do. But what happens a lot is they don't teach you the stuff that's critical for you to make it in the industry. And again, why not? Because it's not cool. So you need to keep that in mind. At the end of the day, it's all about the value you bring to the table. Yeah. So advice on school, the best thing to do is talk to people that actually went to that certain school and ask them what they thought. Yeah. Let's see. What do you need to start first to understand the lighting part of Maya? Okay. Lighting in Maya is a matter of understanding where the buttons are. What does that button do? What does that button do? That doesn't say anything about understanding lighting. Understanding lighting is more something related to cinematography or photography. Composition, lighting, study classical paintings, study the art of light outside of Maya first, and then apply it to Maya. That would be my advice, yeah? Let's see, Benny is saying, it's amazing to see that an artist's style really matters, but would it be kind of a downfall for those who have a specific art style that are already comfortable with? Yes, absolutely. So basically what you're saying is, let's say somebody has a very unique personal style, right? That only works if you have a company that is willing to do a project completely in your style, which is super, super rare, right? The fact that you have your own style is good because you bring something to the table that's valuable. You can go and work for a studio and say, hey, I have this very unique style. But as a 3D artist, you also need to be able to follow somebody else's style more often than not, right? So in your portfolio, reflect that you can follow a certain style. not by copying the models exactly, but following it in their style, like a Disney style, Pixar style. What's that guy's name again? I always forget his name. You know, the stop motion guy with the Jack Skeleton thing. I forgot. I always forget this guy's name. Anyway, super specific style. And if you can follow along with somebody else's style and you have your own style, you're more flexible as an artist, and therefore you have more value. Yeah. What's the prevalence of real time in today's industry, and how important is it for artists to have it in their portfolio? What do you mean by that, Kevin? I don't understand your question. Sorry. Okay, I have a big question. Why am I so afraid to start learning art? I see people artwork and I feel intimidated. I always fail to start. Well, that's kind of a philosophical question, I would say. The need to create art shouldn't be impacted by any external factor at all. Now, that may sound super vague. What I'm saying is that art is about expressing yourself. It's about telling your story, but telling your story. Yeah. It comes from within. If you want to tell some kind of story, then you do it in your way. You paint, you draw, you write, you do whatever. Yeah. As soon as you start to focus on external elements and you're trying to tell a story that the outside world wants you to tell without having your internal element in there, it's never going to work, right? Because you are trying to meet somebody else's passion, and you're not feeding your own soul, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So I would turn off every external element there is, right? And I would start making art for no other reason than for myself. Take a piece of paper or take your 3D software and make whatever you want just for you, and don't show it to anyone, right? And find out if that makes you happy. And if that is the case, you start to build on that creative feeling. You start to develop your creative vibe. Yeah. If you are stopped in your tracks every time, it's because you're focused on outside things too much, pretty much. Yeah. Okay. How long I've been working in 3D? I've been working in 3D since 3D exists. So when 3D started in the industry, and we're talking early 90s, that's when I started in 3D. Let's see. I agree. Good thing. I'm not really in pursuit of finding my own style. I want to be flexible. Okay, cool. I know how to use Artist Maya, the tools, etc., and still can't model a character. Also, can I model a character using only Maya and using ZBrush? You can model a character using just Maya. You can use Maya and ZBrush, of course. But when it comes to skills, it works like this, right? You need a certain amount of intelligence. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you're unintelligent, right? Just bear with me. You need a certain amount of intelligence to get skills. Now, intelligence is something you get at birth. It's not something you develop. It's there or it isn't, yeah? So that's a given. So you have intelligence. If you don't use that intelligence, it doesn't have value. So you use that intelligence to get skill, yeah? Well, let me put it this way, to get knowledge. So, okay, this button in Maya does this button in Maya does that. And again, the intelligence allows you to learn this. So now you got intelligence and you got knowledge of technical things. The next thing you need is skill. Can I use that intelligence? Can I use the knowledge of these buttons to actually do a process, do a pipeline, create something? When these three things are in place, then you can say, okay, and now I'm going to focus outside of 3D and look at people, how they walk, how they act, their size. Are they tall? Are they short? Are they thin? Are they fat? And so forth. That information, that knowledge combined with everything else allows you to create a character that looks like an actual character and put in your own creative vibe and so forth. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Okay, so CR3D is giving Kevin an answer, looks like, yeah. Let's see, Rika, Mike, can you give us some classes which shows the products, for example, furniture and supermarket customers looking for what they want. I'm not sure what you're saying, Rika. So you're asking me to model furniture? What do I think about 3D NFT art? I don't think anything about NFT art, to be honest. Okay, guys, we're almost an hour in. Let's do one or two more questions, and then we'll call it a day, right? Anybody. And let me know if you guys enjoy this kind of thing, right? Is it helpful? Is this something you guys enjoy? Let me know. Okay, what if I want to sell my models online for 3D printing and other use cases? How good is the copyright infringement system, or how likely is it that my work can be protected as much as possible? Honestly, it's pretty much impossible to reinforce that. I mean, sure. I mean, if people could literally take your model, right, buy it, and then go out and sell it themselves. They change the texture, they change whatever. It's super hard to protect that. I mean, even in physical products, it's super hard. You can take a product and change 7 very small things, and you can even avoid a global patent, right? So there you go. Let's see. Benny's saying, so let's see. Solar Ryu saying, very helpful. Thank you. Great. Very insightful. Thank you very much. Taught about current 3D industry compared to the past. Okay. How to find perfect textile density. Very helpful. Can you please teach me how to make a picker? I don't know what a picker is. Helpful. Okay. Let's do that. It depends on the project. Just like a move. Thank you so much. Okay, cool. So let's see. There was one question up here that I wanted to talk about. Okay, so the current 3D industry compared to the past. Of course, there are a lot of differences. If you look at the technical development, of course, that changed a lot. I mean, in 1995, one of the first projects done by John Lasseter, in today's standards, it looked horrible, right? Computers weren't as fast, technology wasn't developed as much, and so forth. Now, of course, you got super fast computers, big ass GPUs, you got all that, right? But there's one very identifiable change, and I feel that it is a bad change, right? And this is kind of a personal advice from me to you, and you don't have to do it, and you don't have to agree with it either, but it's this. If you look at movies or games for that matter in the past, but let's say movies, right? Movies have always been about the story, and you would have practical effects back in the day, or even FX at some point, VFX, to support the storyline. The thing is, VFX has become the storyline, and it makes for a poor storyline in a movie. And nowadays, you look at a movie, and in the first 20 seconds, you got 87 million explosions, and you got super over-the-top stuff. And it's getting more and more exaggerated. And people are getting numbed by that, right? A good movie should be about dialogue between people and have a good storyline and kind of trigger an emotion. That's the whole idea, right? Now, movies where some guy is running around with 2 AK-47s, shooting 78 million bullets in 3 seconds, blowing up, 57 buildings and killing 28 trillion people. It's just crap, right? The problem is it's a money machine. They know if they have an Avenger movie, Marvel, whatever, they know it's a box office hit. It's about the money, right? If you make a very specific movie that is super tailored to a certain audience, it might be a passion project, but it's not going to make a lot of money. You come up with a new Marvel's movie, millions of people want to watch it. It makes $300 million and they are rich. Yeah. Problem is, you can predict the movie from start to end. You know exactly what's going to happen even before you start looking at the movie, right? And for me, that is absolutely horrible. Now, that said, how can you apply this information in your work? Yeah. And I was talking to a guy who is a lead animator at Pixar, right? And I asked him, what is changing in the industry? What do you think is changing in the industry, and how should we adapt to it, right? He said, it's all about micro expressions. It's all about tiny movements, very subtle and very tiny expressions, because people are sick and tired of this over the top, blown up stuff. Yeah. If you're an animator and you got a person sitting on a chair and they slightly shift their weight, right? So they just kind of like move like this. If you are able to do that kind of stuff, it proves that you have a good power of observation, that you have very fine-tuned control when it comes to animating a rig. That is much more difficult than having somebody jump off a building, right? So you see that in animators, you see that in textures. If you got a Western scene, right, don't throw in 78 props to sell it as a Western theme. Yeah. Try and do the same thing with 1 or 2. That is all the difference in the world. Last example, and then we'll call it a day. Yeah. I was asked to judge an animated scene, okay, to see kind of if anything was wrong. It was an abandoned ship. Not a pirate ship or anything like a modern ship. It was abandoned, apparently hijacked. Everybody was gone. Yeah. The ship was stranded and the waves were hitting the ship. So there was a very slight movement of the ship like this. That's it, right? There's a coffee mug sitting on the desk. And in the coffee mug, which was empty, there was a pen in it, right? And I told them, if you want to sell that rocking motion of that ship by adding sounds of waves, the only thing you need to do is have that pen move slightly up and down, right? That sells the entire scene. But what they do in modern movies right now is they got waves crashing over the ship and the ship flipping over and all that. It's just, it sucks. It's horrible. Yeah. Okay, guys. Well, that's it. Well over an hour in. I want to thank all of you so much for hanging out with me today. Like I said in the beginning, if you like my content and you want to support me, you can buy me a cup of coffee. Here's the link. Yeah. Thank you so much for taking valuable time out of your day to listen to me. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully it was helpful. And I'll see you guys next time. All right. Bye, guys. Bye, Benny. Bye, Angelica. Bye-bye.